Okay, in my last section, we're going to take a look at how we have separated some changes in how the menus are set up. We've actually pulled apart the tab for manufacturing and separated it into the POP applications and also shop floor. And then finally, I'm going to end up with the web. And I'm going to show a couple of different options: PO web receiving, PO vendor gateway. We have a new idea called gateways, and then customer sales order gateway. So let's take a look at those. All right, I'm going to move to the manufacturing section. Notice it's gone. And we have now the production order processing section and shop floor. So I'm going to select the production section. Go ahead and close off a few components here. So I've shown you the console that's here, but what we've actually done is, for those of you that have been using what we call POP Plus, or the ability to actually issue material as you stage your POP orders, actually put it into production, WiSys POP allows you to manufacture in a similar format as shop floor, where you have the material model where you can issue and return or over issue. So we're actually bringing you to true WIP using POP. So if you have been looking at the Macola modules and thought it was daunting to implement the 5 or 6 modules in shop floor, but really you don't care about labor, you really are more interested in your material model, those people that are doing food, blending chemicals, pharma, anybody that's lotted and wants to be able to more granularly understand what is going into production, we have that capability. So you'll notice here under the transaction section, we've got production, issue, return, add a component, reprint a label for a finished good, close POP orders, and reset allocations, and then a couple other reporting things down here for looking at variances. What I wanted to point out today is, let's just take a look at POP material issue. You'll notice it runs as a floating window. So the nice thing about this is you could actually take this one component and just right mouse on it and say, I want to run this component just from my desktop. So I'll say add to desktop. So if you've got a guy out on the production floor and he doesn't want all the overhead of all those agility screens, you can just put one component on that guy's desktop. So from here, I'll just scan my POP order, and it says, okay, what item do I want to issue? So my item that I'm going to manufacture is an ABC, and an ABC item is made up of an A, a B, and a C. So if I click on A, or come in here and select an A, or scan A, I get the A there, and it says, what do you want to do? I'm going to issue 10. So I'll go ahead and just issue those 10. So I've now issued those 10, and I could scan the order. This could default, and you could stay on the same thing. You can see now that I've actually issued 10 of the A's. This time I want to go for my B item. I'm going to issue 10. And one more time, I'm going to come down to item C. And this time, I really need 11. So I'm going to over issue. So that's an option that you could have an alert on to say you're not allowed to do that or something like that. But now if I look at that order, I can see that I am completely issued on those components. Maybe I want to go back into Agility now, and I'm going to look at production. This could be done in a similar manner. I could make this a floating icon on the production guy's desk. Maybe one of those inexpensive Windows tablets that you can get for a couple $100 with a Bluetooth scanner. Why not? So this time I'm actually going to produce the 10, and they are going to go to my staging bin. And I'll go ahead and print that out. So there's my label for printing on the finished good. So I wanted to show you that those of you that have been on the older legacy POP product, we've now agilicized POP, and we brought it into the menu structure of Agility. So that's kind of a big change. Your current POP product will work, but it is going to be sunset. So just think about beginning to evaluate where you want to run POP. And finally, as mentioned, we have shop floor separated. There's just a few components in here for shop floor. These are the ones that have been there before with a new shop floor import. So if you have a flat file and you want to import some labor information, you can just import it right in here and then post it. All right. Let's begin to talk about the web components and what those mean for the applications. Firstly, I'm going to bring up Chrome, and you'll see here in Chrome I've got a favorite saved right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and it's now going to check me as a Windows authenticated user to get my stuff. These are individual components. Each one of these components are part of the security Kathy talked about, and each component needs to be granted because each web transactional view has its own security. So let's take a look at PO web receiving. So how is this different than the Agility on the desktop? It's really not that much different. The Agility on the desktop may be a little more data dense, where you have more information at your fingertips, but I want you to think about this. You could run this on a tablet. You can run this on a phone if you can get the right fields on the phone, and you could run this on a PC over the web. Why might you want to do this? Well, we've had people that have asked us for a way to use the Agility applications that are not necessarily connected inside the four walls of the warehouse or manufacturing area. One of our customers has a overstock warehouse where they have not invested in Wi-Fi, but occasionally they do have a truck that shows up there because they have overstock and they don't have room in the production warehouse. So they want to be able to do receiving in this lights out type warehouse. So basically what you can do here is you can filter down to a particular PO, and let's say that you want to receive the 15 that are here. You can just type with your finger and tab across. If it is bin required, you'll see that it shows up that there's a bin requirement. And again, scanning might help here. And tabbing across, you'll see that lots were not required. Packing list was 1, 2, 3, and the rest of it I'm not interested in. And they change color here so that you know what you have not transacted yet. And again, you could be doing a batch. I could be doing several purchase orders, receiving all at one time. When I'm done, I'm directed to touch the screen up here. I'm going to use my mouse. It could be my finger, and I'll do receiving over the browser. It will print a document for you. The document you need to click on and open up and then direct to a printer that you want to use. So that is important. Most of the other things that are here in terms of layouts, you can have layouts. We handle both responsive and horizontal layouts. So if you want to compact your screen a little bit, it will size automatically for you. And again, you can export to Excel and PDFs right here also. Now, I think I mentioned this works with Progression, ES, and Macola 10. The menu does have the folder system over here on the side, so you can use the folders if you like to organize that way. Or if you just touch this Agility Web Explorer up here, it'll show you all the components in one big group. It is showing me the server I'm connected to and the Macola company that I'm using. All right, let's go a little further. Let's talk about the idea of a gateway. So I am Bob, and I'm a purchasing guy at a company in the Far East. And I am interacting with my counterparts that work with company 001. So what if you could extend the number of actors or people integrating with your Macola data? So imagine that you've made Bob in the Far East, who's really not an employee of your company, but you want to give Bob access to look at the POs that he's allowed to see. So it could be one company or several companies. So just in a very simple way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Macola, and I'm going to come in here to AP, and I'm going to maintain a vendor. I'm going to pick my vendor 100. And I'm just going to simply use the note field number 1 for Bob Hawk, B Hawk. And I'm going to save that. So now, when I come back and I refresh this screen, now I'm looking at vendor 100, and I'm looking at all the POs that Bob needs to be thinking about in the Far East. These POs have been placed on my company to fulfill for you. So these are the POs and these are the items. So imagine I'm being requested to deal with this particular order here. Why is it late? So I want to be able to come in here and say, you know what, I've got a new promise date. I'm going to ship this by the end of the month. So as soon as I make a change and step off that field, it's going to show me I've made a change so that Bob in the Far East can communicate to the team back in the States that for this particular line on this PO, I'm going to confirm it. We've created a drop-down box so I can say yes, and I'm going to say, sorry, I was late. And I'll do that for that item, and then I'll update it. So just that fast, I have interacted with Macola data in, maybe you could call this a poor man's portal. You know, I basically am interacting with Macola data without having the full-blown capability of the whole portal to get things done. So that is the idea behind the gateway. So you're letting more people in to participate. And again, Bob does have to be an Active Directory user on your network. All right. And the same is going to be true for this gateway for sales orders. So now imagine Bob works for a particular company and I'm placing sales orders on your company, and I want to be able to see my orders. I do enough business where I'm special and you're going to give me capability to get in. So here I'm going to switch back, this time go to AR, and I forgot during my demo setup that I need to come in here and change my setting back to legacy just for this demo. And make sure I save that. All right. And it says I have to restart, so I better behave and restart my software. Okay. So this time I'm going to go into my company maintain. I'm going to go to customer 901, and I'm going to switch this to BHawk. And obviously you could be a lot more different ways to do that than just that one field, but this works for my demo. And come back, and now this time I'm going to refresh the screen, And you'll see now I just have customer 901, and now BHawk can see these orders. If I'm worried about booked order, or maybe I'm worried about a particular PO, I want to look up a PO, and I want to look up PO DLL. So that's the PO that's important to me, and I can now drill down on this order and see what's going on. Maybe you give me capability to do that. Okay, a couple other concepts is if you're a Macola 10 company and you're investing in the web interface, we're taking this same idea. Let me go ahead and launch my Macola here, and I'm going to pull up one of my workspaces, and I'll go ahead and go to the WMS workspace. So what if you could take the same idea of calling a web component and being able to call a web component right here? So now I can easily call a WiSys component inside the Macola architecture. And that's real simple to do. So if you have that technology and you like using it, boom, you got it. You just add in web users, and there you go. Web users are you can buy those in a 5-pack, and you can add those. So you can have device license users, you can have Agility desktop users, and you can have Agility web users. And I just mentioned that I know some customers have asked, well, I want some of these and some of those. Well, the issue really comes down to a web user in WiSys today is really not 100% equal to a desktop Agility WiSys user. So I want you to think about where you would use those and how you might deploy.